This is Average Sports.
By your average guys.
Eric.
And Ty.
That
would be so bad.
Yeah. This is Average Sports.
Your average sports.
Average Sports.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode
You're
of
listening to Average Sports with your average guys.
Average Sports, average guys, Eric and Ty.
Okay, fine, Eric. I'll take it. Then
You weren't even giving me any sort of
You didn't know? I'm sorry. So
to open this up, and this has been going on for how many years? This is our fifth year doing this show,
season,
and
dude.
you have thrown it to me a total of 5 times in 5 years.
Really? So you've been keeping track.
Yeah, it's an arbitrary number of under 10.
Okay, all right. Either way, you are tuned into another episode of Average Sports with your average guys. I'm Todd. That's Eric.
Hey,
he's throwing a fit over there, so you know he's fired up, and we're going to have a good episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. We are going to talk about, though, we got to do a little recap on the March Madness, and we have NFL trade reports going in.
Trade and free agency tracker.
Right, so we got to talk
about
that.
A lot of news. It's been crazy.
Before we get into the madness that was March,
we got two things.
We did okay, but yeah, you got something else to kick it off
with. The first thing is that we do our best to try and report on what we're drinking at the start of every episode. We've forgotten the last couple, but...
Oh, that's terrible. You have more ice. All right.
There you go. A little ice in there.
Ouch, that was sad. That was pathetic.
Old Forester 1910 as part of their Whiskey Roast series. Yeah. And then we're drinking, of course, some Montucky Cold Snacks. So, it's fantastic.
Can't hate on the Montucky.
Yeah. It's the official, unofficial beer of Montana.
Right.
So then that leads me to one of my favorite segments that we have started to do is the Would You Rather. And this one is very specific for the audience in this room because I'm sitting in this room with some Cardinal fans. And I want to know, would you rather be on a very mediocre or below average Cardinals team or play for the Cubs and be guaranteed to win a World Series?
Guaranteed?
Guaranteed.
Wait, I get to play for the Cubs?
Yeah, let's just say you're a professional athlete.
Okay.
And you are either, you get to choose to be on a mediocre Cardinals team, your childhood home favorite, love of your life,
sure, or
go play for your hated rival.
I like how you have to tee that up. No, I want the trophy, man. That sounds great. That's why you play the game, bro. Come on now. Now, we do have a special guest in the room with us who is that fellow St. Louis Cardinals fan that you're mentioning. We got our buddy Clay here.
Hey.
And you're a Cardinals fan, Clay.
Yo, what's up? And forget the trophy.
Forget it?
Feel the dreams. How would you not? How would you not want to play for your home team, man?
I mean, that sounds great.
I gotta be honest. I'm an Orioles fan. I don't want to play for the Orioles. I'd rather play for the Red Sox and win a title. Yeah. Yes, I physically said the Red Sox. I mean, if you listen to this show for 5 years, you know how much I hate them.
Yeah. Have a great career and not have to have the rings and the trophies. I mean,
of course you can.
Mike Matheny?
Yeah, I don't knock that. You can absolutely have a great career. But I do want the trophy. I want the ring.
Yeah, I do too.
the parade, the party. To reach the pinnacle of the sport, that is the best of the best in the sport. That sounds great to me. If you're guaranteeing it, I'm going to take it.
Guaranteed. Yep.
Guaranteed, though. Yeah, there can't be a 99%, 99.9%. I mean, it is done. It's done.
Yeah, I think
I'd just go out there and play.
I mean, in fairness, if it were the Orioles, I think I'd probably take any shot on any other team to try and win a title.
God,
they're
yeah,
awful.
at this point, right. Next episode, we're actually going to take a deeper dive into baseball because we do have MLB season coming back. So stay tuned for that one. But this one, let's do a little recap, get into March Madness. Dude, we filled out a bracket that we thought
really, really well.
We did okay. No, we didn't even know.
What?
It was bad.
We didn't do well? I'm shocked.
So if you did listen to that episode where we're making our picks,
sorry,
love the episode. Right, we were just, a sliver below average, right?
Yeah,
I'd say that. I mean, if you're looking at a metric of getting half the picks right, we were 30 of 63. Yeah, not that good.
Not that good.
Not that good.
In fairness, there were a lot more upsets this year, or teams making some deeper runs than we had kind of predicted or thought.
So let's envelop on that.
Yeah.
We were talking about, in our bracket, we showed that a lot of upsets were going to happen. Expect the upsets. We just picked the wrong upsets. Yeah. For example, New Mexico State did it over Connecticut. We weren't picking that, but we were picking Chattanooga over Illinois, UAB over Houston. Houston made a deeper run than we thought.
Yeah.
they beat Arizona, which we did kind of anticipate that Arizona wasn't going to necessarily go to the Final Four. We had them in the Elite Eight, but a lot of those 1 seeds we were looking at. Don't carry them all the way too far, but we fell flat on a couple of picks there.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Absolutely. I mean, there were some big time upsets. I mean, obviously one of the biggest ones was having Iowa State and Miami down there in the Sweet 16. That was a very fun run for both of those schools. And then of course the Peacocks from New Jersey, St. Peter's.
St. Pete
had a huge, tremendous run all the way to the Elite Eight.
Love that.
First time a 15 seeds ever made it that far.
And look at who they did beat, though.
I mean, they beat the blue blood of blue bloods. When you talk about, I mean, your elite college basketball teams are Duke, Kentucky, UNC, Michigan State, and UCLA. Although UCLA not as much anymore. But I mean, the fact that they didn't just beat Kentucky. I felt that they predominantly controlled that game from tip off to final. It was
a surprise, yeah. And then took down Murray State. They're no pushover, and then
beat Purdue.
Yeah,
and for a while they North Carolina I think handily beat them, but there was a time or two where you thought that they just weren't going to go away and were somewhat hanging around, but then North Carolina was able to certainly close the door in the second half.
Yeah,
on them.
Yeah. Well, when we talked about North Carolina having that pedigree, like don't be surprised for them to be a surprise. We wound up picking Baylor over North Carolina. However, honestly, are you surprised though to see North Carolina have the kind of run?
After kind of doing a little bit of a deeper dive into their season, they had a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And their highs were really, really high, such as beating Duke in the final home game for Coach K. And then turning around that they had some really terrible losses throughout the season as well. And they were able to put it together. They've had a great run. And for the first time ever, we're going to get a Duke-UNC matchup in the NCAA tournament. That's never happened.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that matchup.
Great. Something else we're looking at. I mean, we did a terrible job on Indiana. We knew Texas Tech was that. Oh yeah, let's jump on it, but they're not going to go too
Texas
far.
Tech.
Love it, but we shot them down after the Sweet 16. They only made it into the second round. They made it to the Sweet 16. So flip that. We had them losing after the Elite Eight. Mm-hmm. No. Second round. Getting all kinds of turned around here. I think one of the bigger surprises though was Arkansas having as good of a run, and then again going back to those upsets, we didn't have a single 13 or 14 seed win.
Nope, not a single one.
Not a single one. And then we hedged way too heavy on Iowa, making.
We did. We expected Iowa to go on a deep run.
Yeah,
and they blew it. Killed us.
Yeah, big time. All right. I'm sure a lot of brackets out there, though, did not look good at all because who could predict some of the matchups that we did see, and that's the fun of it, and we'll look forward to another season next year. But coming up sooner, we'll have an NFL season before you know it, even though we're just getting into April. We're going to have the new NFL season. Well, can't start reporting when? June? July?
Oh, I don't know when they. I don't know when they actually start.
Preseason
reporting.
Will happen in August.
Well, the
first game.
Yeah. So camps, I do think mini camps start in June. OTAs start in July. Camps certainly start either end of July or start of August, depending on the calendar.
All right, Clay, you a football fan at all?
I'm not dedicated or devoted to one team.
How about that Rams settlement, though?
Good for the city. I mean, that did cost us financially losing that team. So, hey, I'm all for it. But the Chiefs, man.
Yeah.
So maybe
are we gonna see it? You're riding the Chiefs. Okay,
yeah.
All right. I think you speak for the city there on that one. That a lot of converts have come out of that whole. Rather than people just ignoring the NFL, a lot of people are all about the Chiefs, just the other team from Missouri. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean they're a good team, and then man, did they decide to make a splash in the offseason. You would have thought a couple years ago them signing Juju Smith-Schuster, who was like the new greatest hotness in the NFL. I mean, he was in some dynasty startup fantasy football leagues going number 1 or number 2 overall. Mm-hmm. And just has never progressed beyond the one season that he had with Antonio Brown. And now he signs with Kansas City, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's going to be great. He's right alongside Tyreek Hill. And then, boom, Tyreek Hill traded to the Dolphins.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, that was certainly the biggest news of the NFL offseason. And that's a huge move. The fact that they got 5 draft picks out of this, the Kansas City Chiefs did, for just Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill got extended down there. But this is such a huge move from the NFL landscape of, now they have really surrounded Tua with massive talent. They shored up that offensive line. They have an elite tight end that is one of the fastest in the league at his particular position. 2 of the fastest wide receivers in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill in that position. They have brought in 2 running backs. They brought in Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds. They have surrounded this team with a ton of talent and have really gone out to make sure that is Tua the guy, and we're going to find out this year. That was the biggest news. But that's not,
give him some better weapons.
They have beyond given him a bunch of better weapons. Yeah. And this was the pinnacle of all the craziness that happened, because we've never seen anything like this. Was like a fantasy football offseason where people are just trading away assets left and right, and like prime assets. So, I mean, we're going to go back and start with really what happened, which was the yes, I'm going to get to that one for sure, because trust me, I'm a big fan of his. So it really starts, honestly, back there were 4. I mean, these were just a ton of trades that all happened in the same day. Okay. We're going to start with the worst one of them all, which is Carson Wentz gets traded to the Washington Commanders. I'm not sure what's worse, Carson Wentz or the Washington Commanders, that nickname. Took him how long to be that?
Come on, Wentz has talent, though. We've seen it.
Does he?
Could he not come back?
Does he?
Yeah.
Nah.
Come on, doesn't he?
No, he does not.
Really?
He's terrible.
I think he's a good quarterback.
He's god-awful.
Okay.
Now, look, I'm not saying that he's the worst in the league, but is he bottom 3rd? Yeah. I'm going to say he's bottom 3rd.
All right.
I think he's beyond proven that he can't do it.
I disagree. I mean, I think Wentz, like, he can't just be the flash in the pan that we've seen. And I'm going to make probably a terrible comparison, but looking at Matthew Stafford, never had much success.
Matthew Stafford was a yardage king.
Yes, he was.
He put up
also
yards
an interception
and put up
king.
Stats.
Also
Carson Wentz
turnover king,
has
man.
never
I think
done it.
My
Carson
point,
Wentz
though,
is a turnover
is
king without the yards.
Repackage the guy.
To who?
Well, the Commanders in this case.
So he goes from Michael Pittman to Terry McLaurin, who, in my opinion, are one and the same. He's getting the exact
So I wouldn't
same
say that he's... I don't think he's going to be the savior in DC, and he's going to take him all the way to a deep run in the playoffs or anything like that. I don't even see that. They may not even be a wild card.
They're not.
I'm not going to subscribe to that. But what I do think is that what we're talking about is he quality, and I think he is. No. He just needs a better rapper.
I don't think he gets more than 3,500 yards. Like, that's bottom tier.
Okay. Passing?
Yes.
Are you talking is that okay?
Under 3,500 yards. You want to bet a 6-pack on that?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
I got that bet.
All right.
All the bets we make on here, I mean, we usually do not follow back on. But
that's the marketing department to pick this up.
If marketing will pick it up themselves, yeah. I don't think they're listening to the episodes at this point.
They are.
Okay.
Maybe.
You think? Okay.
I don't know. We'll ask marketing.
All right.
Then the next big one. This is huge. Amari Cooper gets traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
For peanuts. A 5th and a 6th round pick. The Cowboys gave him away. And then the Cowboys turned around and signed an injured Michael Gallup to a large contract. I don't know what's going on in Dallas, but it certainly upsets me as a Cowboys fan. That's for sure. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that does sound pretty unusual. Cooper is quality. Maybe the age? I don't know. I mean,
maybe the age, but I mean, you just signed Gallup right after that to a large contract when, let's be real, really the player we should have gotten rid of was Zeke.
Wow.
You have Tony Pollard, who's been behind him, who has the burst, who showed it, who has the youth behind it, in a position that ages out at the point where Zeke is already past it.
It's true, and Elliott will have the branding behind him